And yet Adamawa still remains one of the poorest states in Nigeria.
Yes, but
and
why?
They've had you, a man who's been vice president for 8 years, someone who... I am going to ask the questions no matter how you shout, so you might as well just let me talk. I am going to ask the questions.
Ask.
So the Adamawa still remains one of the poorest countries, and therefore, if you talk about people who want to look at antecedents, because you kept talking about your record, and so it's a fair question for people to ask, if your home state has not seen an appreciable change as a result of your major sitting in an office of that of the vice president, why should we believe you would do better for the rest of Nigeria?
Again, you have got it wrong, because you didn't try to compare what was it before and now. Today,
give us the numbers.
I may not be able to give you the numbers, but today...
So I can tell you.
Oh, well, you can tell me, but then you have to convince me that you have the right...
I have the numbers. So Adamawa has, for the last 20 years, come in sort of 26, 27 in the index of poor states in Nigeria. It hasn't shifted much. Maybe one place in the last 20 years.
Then it cannot be one place in the last 20 years. It must be maybe in the last 10 years.
No, I'm talking about 20 years. I looked at the numbers before coming in here. Because it's one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about.
But it has shifted.
Seeing as it is your state.
But it is shifted.
A little bit.
So one single individual is able to make that shift. So imagine if it is.
But isn't that part of the problem, actually? That
how?
In all your influence, you've not been able to build another you in Adamawa or someone close to you.
Do you know how long it took me?
That is all about you.
Do you know how long it took me to be what I am? Do you know from what background I came?
Okay. So I was told when I was researching this that there are two major employers in Adamawa. One is the state government, and the second is you.
Yeah.
And part of the conversation we had was how come the economy of Adamawa is not getting bigger enough. This is a place, like you pointed out, rich in agriculture and a lot of other things. And yet people are stuck in poverty. They've had people at the highest possible office. And this is the conversation. And the same thing with Anambra, because you talked about leaving money in your coffers. The problem people say is, yes, you left money, but actually the kind of things that you could have done. So you built roads. These are like mundane things that anybody with a bit of money could have done. And that there's nothing tangible that could transform Anambra that you did while you were in office. How will you respond to that?
Let me go back to the issue where you discussed about job creation and about what you said about Alhaji Atiku. You showed it clearly that in Adamawa, the two major employers is government and him. Let me tell you what you've said. You've actually said that as an individual, he's made a success of his life. And are using that experience, Kadere, if a person can manage a kobo, he can manage an naira. You've shown success in her own little space. And using this experience, he wants to transform it into a national issue. The people who are there today and those who are arguing don't have such experience. So they don't have such experience. You cannot say of any other presidential candidate that after his state, he's the major employer. Show me one. None of them. So you have not seen what I'm saying about his experience. It is this experience that is going to transform. When you mention issue of job creation, let me add to what he said about when he's going to create 50 million jobs. This is not rocket science. It's been done everywhere globally. Let me just give you an example. Within the last 2 years, India was the highest country with the highest people living with extreme poverty. In 2015, it was 176 million. Nigeria was then about 70. Today, Nigeria is above 90. In fact, World Bank report this year said we're going to top 100. We're getting worse. India have now moved from 176 to 76. So India, in 3 years, have been able to pull out 100 million people out of poverty. Whatever they did to achieve that, we can learn and do exactly that. What we have today in government is that you have people who are incapable of learning becoming teachers. We can learn what they're doing.
Okay.
You know what Nigeria went to India to do recently?
Yeah.
To borrow $100 million for ICT. Let's stop borrowing and learn what they are doing to improve their economy. Again, in the issue of job creation, the easiest way to create jobs is to empower your micro, small, and medium businesses.
Okay,
they are the greatest employer everywhere in the world.
You realize that this government actually does have programs doing that. And so the question,
let me tell you,
the question is always going to be, how is your program
we are going to
different
move, let me tell you,
from what is already being done?
Thank you very much. Let me tell you why, the difference. It took this government 3 years to even formulate a program. They were in office for 3 years. Atiku Abubakar already have a program. So he's going to move immediately to program implementation, not formulation. We took this for 3 years. And that 3 years was wasted trying to formulate what you can see have fallen like a pack of cards. Because if it took you 2 years to say, I'm going to achieve 4% growth, and you're not achieving 2%, you will even fail based on your own exam you set for yourself. You have even failed when you set the exam for yourself. And that is what is catching up here. It is easy. That experience is hard on a small scale. Is that what is going to transform in a larger scale? And being that both of us, with this direction, we've managed resources. If you have created resources that manage one, it's easier for you to further expand that. And it's very easy. If you don't move this economy where it is private sector driven, you're wasting everybody's time.
And so
deficit.
Ideologically, you are clear, both of you, that the programs you're going to be pursuing are going to be private sector driven.
That's what is obtainable in the world today. It's very simple.
Virtually every part of the world is in trouble today because they've realized that capitalism has left a lot of people behind.
Which people are in trouble?
Hang on, I'll tell you.
Which of them? Tell me.
I'll tell you. You have problems in America because there's a percentage of Americans that lashed out because they felt left behind. So there's a general concession.
There's a problem. There's a problem everywhere.
With all due respect, let me ask my question, please.
Okay.
Yeah? The point I'm trying to make is that generally, this rabid capitalism in pursuit of money is believed to be leaving a lot of people behind and is growing the gap between the rich and the poor. And I'm trying to get clarity from you, whether you understand the issues associated with the sort of kind of economy that you want to pursue, especially in a country where already there are major issues of poverty.
Leaving people out of poverty has been private sector driven. China has driven 439 million people out of poverty within 15 years. They only achieved it because they took the private sector led. Do not use America and compare. Every society has its own little problems. You cannot use the little problem of America to compare what is happening here.
You said I should give
No,
you
no,
an
you
example.
can't. Let me,
Yeah.
No, but if you ask Nigerians today, do you want to live in America? I can tell you, the present condition, 99% would throw in their passport today and leave Nigeria. If you ask Americans, do you want to come to Nigeria? Nobody will want to go because even Bloomberg have said this is the most stressful country to live in today.
Do you believe that Nigeria's problems started in the last 3 years? Or do you sincerely and can look at Nigerians in the face and tell them that nothing they are experiencing today has nothing to do with things that have happened in the past 16 years?
Let me tell you, as a finance person, there's something we call a discounted position. What you see today, 16 years of PDP, which is far better than what we're seeing, was a discounted position. That's what they were telling us.
Please explain discounted position.
Now I want to say, if you come to me, okay, let me give you. In 2015, APC was going around and saying, the country is broke. The country's economy is collapsed. There's insecurity. There's this. They promised us to make Naira 1 to 1.
We have to do fact checks when we're doing
1 minute.
No, come on.
Let me finish.
Let's be serious now.
Let me
We're having
finish.
a serious conversation. Come on.
Let me finish. That's what the promise was.
Come on now. Come on now.
Okay, let me finish. They promised that they will end Boko Haram in 6 months. They promised that they're going to give Nigerians power. They promised the issue of fuel being 47 naira. They promised, go and check what we see today. All we're saying is, let's look at your promises and know those. They promised to create 3 million jobs. And we've lost 13 million jobs.
Yeah, okay, so it's difficult because obviously if I'm not an APC
And
person and I can't keep trying to, it would be nice if we focus on what you are doing. The simple reason being, anytime I push back at you, it will look as if I'm trying to speak for the APC, and I don't want to.
Okay, let me tell you what we're doing.
Exactly. So let's focus on what you are doing.
Let me tell you what
why it is different from what obtains.
Thank you. I have actually told you where we are today, that we have seen record poverty in Nigeria, where we're now the poverty capital of the world. And I believe that with the policies of PDP Atiku's government, you continue to see annual reduction in that position.
Okay. Let's take a few questions. The people I called earlier, they need to finish up.